If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to Downfall Network for more cool content.
Greetings and salutations, fellow YouTubers. Welcome to Thralls of Metal. I am Rin.
I am Necrotic Nick.
I am Shredlord.
And we are here for you. It's album review time. Today we are going to review the newest album by England's Onslaught, released August 7th, year of our COVID, 2020. The album is called Generation Antichrist. It is their 7th full-length studio album since 1985. This was released on AFM Records. They've been around since 1982 and only put out 7 albums. Come on, guys. Why did you take the 90s off? The 90s were weird. It's a weird time.
For everybody.
A lot of things happened.
It was good.
Probably should have just left and went back to Bristol. They originally started out as a hardcore punk band like Discharge, Exploited, early Elton John. They transitioned from hardcore punk to straightforward thrash, and man oh man, do they do it nice.
It was a good move on their part.
Oh yeah, solid decision. So this album kicks off with a bit of an intro with Rise to Power, except this is the kind of intro I like because it's actually musical. It's not just a bunch of samples of, noise and creepy shit. This is actually musical. Well, you gotta get past the person that can't change their mind on the old transistor radio.
That was transistor.
But that was cool because
it was cool.
It took you to different parts of the eras and stuff, but kudos to them for using the sound effects with the music.
Yes.
That's one thing we talked about.
And that's kind of a thing in the entire album, but intro pretty much sets the pace. You get a nice chuggy stomp, nice harsh vocals in there, and then boom, we explode into strike fast, strike hard, and man, this album is all about going full gear,
thrash
all
city.
the time.
Strong opener. This is technically the opener, so.
Oh, yeah.
Very strong opener. Yeah, it catches your attention immediately.
And I gotta say, this is a really cool vocal performance from their new singer, David Garnett. This is his first album. He joined this year, and he does a lot of different things. He has that token thrash snarl, but he also has like a really harsh vocal it brings in, and I gotta say, I still hear hints of their hardcore days mixed in here. Some punchier breakdowns, some groovier bits. It just has that hardcore energy, and it's the kind you gotta watch out for fists in the mosh pit.
Now, a track that I particularly liked was Bow Down to the Clowns.
Rolls off the tongue so nicely.
Bow down.
I believe in my notes, the way I explained it was, love the beef freight train that is the start of this song, because it is chuggy fast and it's a freight train of just beef and heft.
Crunchy beef.
Energy, crunchy beef, heft, all the adjectives and then some.
Double bass, flurries, mid-tempo, just punch the person next to you. Sorry, Ren.
And the other thing that I noticed when about the album in whole, but particularly when it came to the song, is the guitar players, or maybe guitar player, whoever does the leads, maybe they share, I'm not really sure, but the leads in this album are really well thought out, incredibly well executed from a technical point, and they really add to the song. You can tell that whoever wrote them made sure that they contributed and stayed interesting, and the lead work on this whole album is really good. Super good, and definitely worth a listen if you're a fan of good guitar playing.
There's also some cool, just ever so subtle nods to death metal, like early death metal. Like, there are parts in here that bring in that death metal tremolo and reminded me instantly of like bands like Possessed or Pestilence, like that early, very thrashy death metal. And I like how they worked in like a little bit of hardcore here, a little bit of death metal here, but at its core, it is 100% pure thrash. One that stood out to me, namely for a very odd reason, All-Seeing Eye. The opening riff sounds so much like the galloping chug that you find in Napalm Deaths on the Brink of Extinction off of Time Waits for No Slave. Like, it is almost spot on there, but this pretty much doesn't feel like any bit grindcore at all. This is still very much straight ahead thrash. And this is like pretty much the point in the album where I was realizing the choruses are really good. They're like very anthemic, but they stay aggressive. It doesn't come off like hokey at all.
Yeah, it's never cheesy.
In your face.
A lot of different voices too going on in the choruses. Gang vocals at times.
Galore. There's a lot of gang vocals all over this album.
And like you said, it goes from a snarl to a more of a rasp and even death metal type
Yeah.
vocals. Like the lyrics in All Sing High, it's very Illuminati. Shh. Don't tell them.
They already saw this.
Well, the album cover itself has what seems to be a pyramid with an eye in it.
And a pentagram.
And a pentagram.
Doubling down.
They might be. They might be.
Interesting fact about Rin. He has not been to Taco Bell since they released that Illuminati burrito.
That is a fact.
That is a true
That
fact.
is a fact.
Went there a few nights ago.
Not for me anymore.
As soon as that commercial came out, he stopped going. He
You
gave it up.
Son of a... You've ruined it. You've taken it all from me. Also in the All Sing Eye, there's a very... Probably, maybe the first, Morse code solo. I don't know.
It's
well,
there.
it's obviously intentional, but I skipped the scouts, so I'm not entirely sure what they're saying. It's probably something...
It'd be interesting to try to go decode that.
It's probably something about Taco Bell, perhaps.
Send more beer and cocaine.
Could be.
There's even some blast beats on here too, and those kind of pop up a little
Very-
bit, just a little pocket of them. I'm like, oh, now we're back to the gallop. But I like these nods to other styles on here.
And it's just enough to be like, oh, you can do that too.
Their drummer can do a lot, and it's all aggressive.
Well played, English. Well played. The title track of this album, Generation Antichrist, is... it starts off with spooky circus music, perhaps?
There's a carnival in hell.
Yeah. And then there's some sort of preacher in a solo, but in the background, it's Slayer. It's a Slayer, evil, dissonant riff.
Slayer worship at its finest.
Oh, yeah.
It's worship. I wouldn't say they're ripping it off.
No.
But it's tasty.
I mean, anytime a band does those creepy, like, lead melodies, like, that's the first thing you think of because Slayer pretty much perfected it. That was Jeff Hanneman's little touch on music.
Hanneman
period.
reaching up from hell to give a high five.
Give him the high five back.
The title track is a headbangathon. Exodus-ish? Perhaps? Trademark. The bridge builds up into Pit City again.
Utter madness.
I don't know if they have pits in England. I assume they do. Well, not now, but then, even though this is new.
Now, in terms of like any sort of pitfalls on this album, I would have to say sometimes the lyrics get a little dumb, and this is kind of an interesting album when it comes down to lyrical subject matter. Like some of it feels serious as a heart attack. Yeah, stand up to the establishment. This is about war. And then we got Addicted to the Smell of Death, which I'm pretty sure that was Carcass's thing, but it's also their thing, and it's just kind of hokey and dumb, and it's a weird tonal shift. And some of the choices in there, like I like the gang vocals. I think those are fun. But then there's this part where it sounds like they have like thrash metal backup singers, like a lounge act. And yeah, like, ooh, you smell those corpses. It just comes off a little too hokey, especially considering the tone of like All Seeing Eye, the track right before it feels serious as a heart attack.
Right. And maybe that is to bring and be like, well, we're not so serious.
Yeah, a little sense of humor never hurt.
But it is, yeah, like serious, not so serious. Serious, not so serious.
I mean, is there a 12-step program for that addiction? I don't know. Carcass never went to a meeting. A nice break in the pace, though. And the pace of this album is breakneck. It is flying almost all the time. You got your nice groovy pockets, but most of the time it's just, you better love that thrashy gallop. And if you're listening to this album, there's a good chance that's why you bought it. Empire's Fall is pretty much the big, chuggy, groovy banger on here. Like this one just labors a nice syncopated chug and is all about the groove and punch. And there's also a cool little hardcore breakdown in there too. And it's just fiercely Bay Area for a band that's from England.
Yeah, they've done their homework.
Another Slayer nod. There's a little bit of Slayer
Definitely.
nod in there, and another well-constructed solo. All the solos are just
Great.
put together well. He's a good player, or both of them. I don't know if it's just one guy doing the solos, but there's melody, there's scales, there's sweeping, there's little bendies.
There's structure to it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. He took some time, like, okay, do a solo. No, he took a couple of days, probably.
Hooks. Legit,
Hooks.
like
Hooks.
melodic hooks.
Yeah.
Now, the album ends on a more punky note, I have to say. Religious Suicide, which that is one word, and I'm still trying to figure out how to
One
actually
S.
pronounce that. It's one S. I think that there's two S's to be less confusing.
Yes.
It's way more along the lines of like crossover thrash. The cadence, the vocal cadence is super fast, very punky, and well, it has an interesting little tagline in the chorus. What was that one?
Religion takes it up the ass like
Jesus fucking Christ! That's it, right there. And I love the machine gun guitars and all the punk energy, but when we get down to the last track, A Perfect Day to Die, we get some...
I think that was a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Was that a Pierce Brosnan?
Probably a Roger Moore.
I think it was a
Might have
Klingon battle chant.
Could have been. It might have been a Steven Seagal movie, too.
Directed video, I'm sure of that one.
Oh, well, they all are, really.
Right now, yeah. Directed the cheap bin in Walmart.
He can still put them away, and I'm talking about pancakes.
But yeah, this one has a solid Motorhead vibe, even opens up with like a nice little isolated bass section.
Yep, grimy,
D-beat,
glungy, glungy.
Discharge worship right there.
Yep.
Just a fun song to end it on, and yeah, this one
Cool
is...
tom work.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the tom work really reminded me a lot of Sepultura, especially like Chaos AD, when they just kind of let Igor get groovy. Fun song, fun album. A fun album overall. It's Riff City, Population Them. We're just there along for the ride, and man, it's just good.
Who knew England could thrash so hard? Who knew?
Onslaught did.
Yeah, Onslaught knew since 1982. You know, 2020 has been a messed up year, to put it lightly. However, thrash
Is alive and well.
unstoppable. This year is just thrash gems, and this is another one of them. Put it up there with Testament, Warbringer, Havoc, Shrapnel. I would say, if we were doing just a top 10 thrash album, it would. Well, are there 10 thrash albums this year?
Oh yeah.
It's in the top 10, top 5. I give it a solid 4 out of 5. It's fun, hardcore thrash. Goodness. You might hurt your neck, though, doing all this.
I also give it a 4 out of 5. It's a very fun listen. The entire thing is filled with all sorts of great riffs, so it keeps it interesting the entire time. They never wrote the same song twice on this album, and the variety that they instilled with everything from the well thought out guitar solos to the different feels of genres to the different sound effects to the different variety of vocal styles all wrapped itself together in a thrash extravaganza, and it was an excellent listen.
Well, I'm going to round this one out with another 4 stars. That is just flat out everything I love about thrash. A wide wheelhouse, lots of different styles of it, punkier, almost death metal, death thrash stuff. It's just a well-written album, and yeah, outside of some dumb lyrics, but I mean, there's a lot of dumb lyrics out there. Awesome album. I definitely recommend it.
Fun album.
So that about wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. If you like what you saw here, please hit the like and subscribe button. Also hit the notification and the little bell thingy dingy because it notifies you to all the Thralls content, and we put stuff out all the time. All sorts of great commentary, of course, and our beautiful shining faces.
Handsome fellas.
Yeah,
Handsome fellas we
We'll
are.
find them and get them on the show soon.
Yeah, we'll call
we're
them.
looking.
We
We're
are.
on Craigslist pretty extensively.
Joe's on Craigslist.
But we digress. So, with that being said, thank you for tuning in. We will catch you guys on the flip side. Stay metal and all that other hoopla shit that I can throw at the end.